for many years at annual meeting, we really have been trying to invite people to get a sense of what it's like to go to one of our countries where we have mission partners, and I would describe it, I would show pictures, occasionally we'd have a video, and it just wasn't ever enough. And so this year we thought we would build a shack that tried to provide a little glimpse of what life was like for many of the seniors who are served by our senior center and soup kitchen in Soacha, this little community just south of Bogota. And so this is our kind of our best attempt to date to put something physical that people could look at and they could touch and they could walk into and think to themselves, wow, people actually live here. In fact, 70, 80-year-old people actually live in places like this.
Those seniors there, they had such a joy about them in their daily walk. They didn't seem to be concerned about tomorrow, what tomorrow would bring, knowing that they didn't have much and there was a lot of uncertainty in their life. They didn't seem to wear that on their sleeve. They talked so much about their faith in God and how the Lord was going to look after them. And there's just such a joy about that, and the fellowship that they shared with me. It strengthened my faith in many aspects, and it gave me a whole different perspective.
There was one of the residents there, his name is Pedro, and he came into the center to eat his noon meal, and he decided to sit by me, and I think it was just divine intervention that he sat there. Later that day he shared the story about how he was a taxi driver, and he had just saved up enough money to buy a taxi, and he picked up someone who attacked him, and he ended up becoming incapacitated. He was paralyzed on one side of his body, and he started having seizures, and so his livelihood was basically taken away from him because of that assault. We just connected, we hugged. I continue to sponsor him financially and have committed to sponsor him financially for a couple of more years and may do so more after that.
This would be like a picture of in the neighborhood. You'd actually see this looking out your window, and then we have photos here of two of the women standing in their kitchen. And you can see that it's just a collection of odd objects that have been really taken out of a dump or collected from a trash heap. Old tables, and they might have some kind of thing like this for a stove. They would have to get propane, and they might only get that once every couple weeks, so they don't always have something to cook with. Old pots and pans that they had salvaged. Dishes here on the table. And the other thing you're struck with when you go into the house is that it's a very small area and it's all just right there. There aren't separate rooms. Some of the places might have like a blanket hung between the bed and the kitchen area, and that would be all that would separate them. But many are just like this. There'd be an old bed here that one or two people might sleep at. And then the kitchen would be right here. There is no running water. There is no toilet facilities. All of the water is brought in, and they would go outside and down the hillside to use the bathroom. But this really gives you a flavor. Some places might have a refrigerator, most do not, so they would have their food just set in boxes, and they would try to get that. Their little grocery stores in these poor neighborhoods, they'd have to walk a long way to go to the grocery store. You can see up here on this picture that all of these shacks are really set on a hillside, and you're either walking up or you're walking down, and there aren't many level places. And so these men and women in their 70s and 80s, are just slowly going up and slowly going down. It takes a long time to get anywhere. They don't have cars. Taxis are way too expensive, and so they almost walk every place that they have to go. And the idea then is to see these old cast-off materials and to realize that there are many people who live with just the things that we would throw away, and that for them, that's the stuff of their lives, and that's what kind of helps keep body and soul together.